people are questioning me in a way that's like disrespectful.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. How is everyone doing today? Usually we start these videos off with me complaining about how I have no introduction, but we're not gonna do that today. We're just gonna skip over that part and get right into some other things that I want to talk about, because today is a Wednesday and we are going to be talking about episode 2 of the Bachelorette, Michelle's season. I'm going to be doing these recaps every single week on YouTube, so make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. Ring the bell if you want to get notified. I'm gonna try and get them up on Wednesdays because the episodes premiere on Tuesdays, but if I can't get them up on Wednesdays, then I'll get them up on Thursdays, just because I do edit these. I know some other Bachelor YouTubers do like lives and stuff. Shout out to Dave Neal, my buddy. But I don't really want to do lives on YouTube because I like to edit these, put in like extra pictures of like what the subjects are that I'm talking about. And I also can't talk for like 14 minutes just with like no pauses or spaces. So that's why I use editing to speed up the video, because I want to be as concise as I am on TikTok, tell you the tea, tell you my opinion, then we can move on. We don't have time to recap The Bachelorette for an hour. We only have like 15 minutes on YouTube to get to the point and move on. But before we do that, everything is good by me. I'm chilling like a villain. I have been super productive this week, so I'm just so proud of myself getting all my shit done, doing those TikToks. Also exciting news, I just got this new book in the mail today. It's called Not All Diamonds and Rosé by Dave Quinn. It is literally the inside story of the Real Housewives from people who lived it. So I am so excited about reading this book. I am a huge Housewives fan. I know a lot of y'all are Bachelor fans. Something that surprised me about this book, other than the fact that it's so fat, a lot of the book is like, it's like, looks like a script. It's just like housewives say certain lines. So that surprised me about the book. I thought it would be more like a memoir or something. I didn't realize I was reading a theater or a play. Each chapter is about a different franchise, and there's some pictures in here, so I'm really excited about it. I want to plug this book because this is what I will be starting to read this weekend. I hope everyone has a happy Halloween this weekend, and I cannot wait to show you guys my costume, and I can't wait to see your costume. I've kept you long enough, so let's get into Michelle's recap. Episode 2. Jamie got the first one-on-one date, which I kind of thought was a little bit out of left field. I don't know, Jamie was just not on my radar. After episode 1, I was just kind of like, okay, I guess we're getting to know Jamie. We went to Joshua Tree, which is cool because I've also been to Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree is so pretty. It's such a fun date. It was kind of interesting to see Jamie's hand on Michelle's hips so firmly. Did anyone else notice that? I was like, oh my god, Jamie, calm down. But they definitely seemed like they vibed. There was definitely a little bit of awkward tension there, which I can tell by the body language, but sometimes relationships take, you know, more time and are more slow. That's kind of where my thought process was at with Jamie and Michelle during the day date. During the night date, when Jamie opened up about his mom who committed suicide, my heart went out to him. I was having chills. It was so emotional. They always put the people who have the hardest heartbreaks and like sob stories almost on early one-on-one dates so that they can tell their story, because that's how they kind of relate to more people, and they kind of want to bring that element of emotion in, not to kind of downplay what Jamie's story was with his mom, because that is truly devastating. My heart goes out to him, even though we're going to talk shit about him in a few minutes on this recap, but my heart went out to him. But now moving on to the first group date, which I actually think happened before Jamie's one-on-one date, but who cares? We can do this out of order. It's my YouTube channel. The whole classroom date, which I loved. I know a lot of us are a little over the fact that Michelle is a teacher and they have to keep having to bring it up. I feel like we needed that one classroom school date. I'm sure they're gonna move on from the fact that Michelle is a teacher later on in the season, but we definitely needed one classroom group date. So I'm totally here for it. My takeaways from the classroom group date is that Brandon is a little slow. I don't know what it is. He's cute, he's fun, but he just seems a little slow. He definitely had time with Michelle, which means that he's going to go the distance, which I already kind of predicted. Then the whole Peter and Will drama. First of all, cannot stand Peter. I mean, it literally took 15 minutes for The Bachelor to convince me to hate Peter, because they can do that with editing and music, and they did it. I cannot stand Peter, and I already couldn't stand Peter. I can't stand his accent, and no offense to my Bostonians, Long Island, New York friends. I'm from Long Island. I think Peter's from Long Island too, but now he lives in Florida, but his accent just bothers me. He's so full of himself. Can't wait to brag about like all these things he's doing. Like, we get it, you have a pizzeria, it's not a flex. Unless you're hooking up everyone in Bachelor Nation with free pizza, we do not care that you have a pizzeria. But he definitely seemed kind of narcissistic and annoying, but I did not like when Will called him out for it during the spelling bee. I thought that was a little uncalled for. It was a little too soon to be throwing digs and daggers. I don't know if producers encourage Will to do that, because it kind of seemed a little too convenient that the kids asked everyone to spell the word narcissistic. And so I don't know if producers egged Will on, so if they did, then I'll give Will a pass, but what it looked like on on camera was that Will was instigating a little bit of a fight with Peter, and I just didn't like that. So justice for Peter, even though he's a little annoying, and I will say I am team Peter in this situation. Later on in the night portion of the group date, we saw Michelle make a move on Rodney, I believe, and I was shocked by that. Rodney definitely carries himself with like some poise and confidence, but no offense, he's just not cute at all, and I'm sorry, but maybe his personality will grow on us because he seems to have a good one of those, so at least he has something going for him. And Brandon J ended up getting the group date rose, so good for him. He's definitely going to the top 3, which is what I predicted earlier in my predictions Bachelorette video before the season started. Just a little too young for her. I think he's 26. I know she's 28 or 29. He just seems a little too immature for her, but I think they'll have a cute little connection and a cute little fling while he's there. Brandon J kind of reminds me of Dean from Rachel Lindsay's season. She kept him around until the top 4, but he obviously was way too young for her, and the audience could see that. Moving on to the next group date, it was the basketball group date, which we all been looking forward to. We saw pictures of this group date for a long time on Instagram. Michelle in this matching set, which I love. It was nice to see Michelle in her element because we know that Michelle really likes basketball, and as she revealed on tonight's episode, she was one of the top runner-up for the most talented or best basketball player in all of high school in Minnesota. Flex on you, Michelle. Work it, girl. I love these competition dates. Obviously, we know that only one team will win, so only one team will get extra time with Michelle. It's really unfortunate for Joe going into this date because he found out that one of his coaches unfortunately passed away, and that is so sad. I know how important coaches are to athletes when they're growing up. I know how much of an impact they make on your life, so I definitely really felt for Joe, and I really want to see Joe get on a one-on-one date because there is so much to unfold with Joe. He has to go far on this show. Everything he's bringing to the table, whether or not he knew Michelle, it's just so captivating. It's a storyline that I'm interested in, I'm intrigued in. Joe, we need him to go far, and Michelle definitely likes him because even though his team lost the basketball date, he was still able to go on to the after party because he got the MVP. They really only showed Joe basically during the basketball game. I mean, Joe is shooting hoops, shooting scores, got the highlights. They showed that one-on-one moment with Michelle and Joe playing basketball. They're really trying to let us know that Michelle and Joe have a connection and that they have some type of past. Joe was the #1 basketball player in Minnesota for high school, and then he went on to play college basketball. Michelle was the #2 basketball player in high school. They went to different high schools. However, they definitely have heard of each other growing up. There's statistics, there's news articles, there's stats, there's coaches, there's different, running in the same athlete circle. Have they ever met each other? Have they ever texted? I guess it seems like they haven't. I don't really think Michelle would lie about that. It seems like the first time they ever got in contact was a couple years ago when, Joe ghosted her. They definitely knew of each other in high school and of college, probably from a distance. Maybe they were at some student athlete banquets together in high school. I'm not sure how that works. If they were, probably they sat at different sides of the room, different tables, and if they won awards or something, I don't know what sports is like. Did they ever have a crush on each other from afar? Did Joe ever think of Michelle like that? Did Michelle ever think of Joe like that? Or did they just not pay any attention to each other other than sports? I really don't know, and we won't know until Joe gets on a one-on-one date, which we know he will eventually. But I still liked how they let Joe go on the after party date because he was the best basketball player, and I feel like we needed a few more men there because there was only 5 on that date, and Joe definitely needed that time with Michelle because unfortunately his coach passed away, so he needed to tell Michelle what was going on. So of course producers were going to set Joe up for that moment with Michelle, and I really liked how they talked and had that moment, and they have a connection, and I don't know if their connection is something that's going to last forever or even last past the Bachelorette because it's just a little weird to me how they never linked up or dated before in Minnesota since they live in the same city and since they grew up in the same town. But maybe they needed the Bachelorette to really bring them together, and then it's their love story, or maybe it's just not meant to be and Joe's a clout chaser for going on TV and never pursuing Michelle before the TV show. Who knows? Also on the group date, Nate and Michelle were able to progress in their relationship. We all know that Nate is a front runner and that he is going to the top 4 most likely. And someone else, Clayton. Clayton was barely on this group date. I totally think they're trying to protect Clayton's image and reputation since he's the next Bachelor, so maybe that's why they're not giving him a lot of airtime, but I think he gets a one-on-one next week, so I'll be interested to see what will happen with that. But on this group date, this is where the guys started to realize that something fishy was going on between Joe and Michelle. Martin was one of the guys who was leading this spearheadedness, and I guess the only way they were able to pick up on the fact that Michelle and Joe knew each other was because of the fact that they're both from Minnesota and they both play basketball, so I guess you can put 2 and 2 together. But it wasn't until the rose ceremony when all of this started to go into fruition, where Jamie, Martin, PJ, and a couple other guys started to discuss the fact that Joe and Michelle might have known each other, and Jamie and Martin did not like it at all because they felt like Michelle was being a little bit inauthentic. And mainly Jamie was the one that thought that, but I still feel like Martin thought that too. to and then was trying to backpedal so that he didn't get involved in the drama. I feel like Martin has seen this show before. He's definitely been prepared. A few of the guys seemed concerned, but once Jamie really started to make strong accusations, then Jamie took it on a life of his own, because that is when he went up to Michelle and confronted her about the situation, about some of the guys talking in the house about it. And it didn't seem like too many guys in the house were talking about it. As we saw later, a lot of them were shocked when Michelle brought it up to the group. But Jamie wanted to let Michelle know that some of the guys were talking about it and that it seemed insincere and inauthentic of Michelle to not address the fact that she knew Joe beforehand or what their relationship was.
Maybe you might have known Joe before here.
Jamie really came at Michelle hard, and he already had a rose, so he didn't have to do all this. But I think Jamie just really wanted to clarify and ask if Michelle knew him, because he really wanted to start this off on even playing fields with all the guys, and it definitely gives Joe a leg up, considering Michelle and him loosely knew each other before the show. But the way Jamie came at Michelle was just a little too aggressive. He had valid points, then he really just started to question her character and her authenticity, and that just was not cool. Michelle is the Bachelorette. She is letting you know that she is here to find love. She wouldn't be the Bachelorette if she wasn't completely single. And then Jamie confronting her about this rumor that he heard. He saw Michelle out with a light skin at a restaurant. That was also so uncalled for. If Jamie was so concerned about this rumor, then why didn't he address it on his one-on-one date when he had plenty of time to address it? Red flags, Jamie. Red flag. He had valid points, but then his delivery was wrong, and then his timing was wrong, because he could have addressed half of these things on his one-on-one date. And this really set Michelle off, where she had to separate herself from the conversation with Jamie. Very taken aback. I feel like she could have possibly responded to Jamie a little bit, but I guess she kind of just wanted to address it with the group. She had to talk to producers about it too, but she was very taken aback. And when she gets everyone together, she reveals the reason she was so taken aback was because what Jamie said about a light skin, another black guy, because it automatically sets the precedent that they're dating. And I really felt for Michelle and realized how messed up what Jamie did was. And even if Michelle was seen with another guy before the show started filming, I don't think that it was her boyfriend. It was probably just a friend or a colleague or another athlete or something. Michelle was announced the Bachelorette way back in March after the final rose with Matt and Rachel. She has had 6 months in between Bachelor and Bachelorette where she is not allowed to really date other people. Otherwise, she's gonna lose her Bachelorette gig. Michelle is too smart to go on dates in between that time in public. So I don't think Michelle was dating anyone before the show. I think she came in here completely single. But when Michelle addressed it with the guys, she let everyone know what Jamie said without revealing his name. She was not happy, and that is when she canceled the cocktail party and wanted to go straight into the rose ceremony.
Changed a few messages.
Then once Michelle separates herself, this is when all the guys start talking and being like, who said it? Who said it? Who said it? On other seasons, when we see, I think it was Thomas or something, that one person who rats on the rest of the group put in the hot seat, usually that person just admits to them being the person. So I was surprised that Jamie did not admit that he was the one that talked to Michelle. I don't think he had to admit it. I also think it's gonna come out regardless and gonna make him look worse, so he probably should have said tail on the coffin and said that it was him right away, because it's not going to be good for him next week. But I kind of liked how Jamie wanted to be a little sneaky and mischievous, and when the villain music came on in the background when Jamie was having his confessional, I was like, oh my god, we have a villain, and I got excited because y'all know I love a villain. But I still didn't like the way Jamie approached Michelle, but I did like the fact that Jamie wanted to be sneaky about not revealing to the guys all of his cards, because I like that he's playing the game. I think it's fun. It makes the show a little bit more interesting, but boy, is it gonna bite him in the butt next week, because the guys are coming for him, and he really did play it off well. Nate was like, I know it's not you. He really is playing it up and gonna look like a liar, and I feel like Michelle is gonna reveal possibly to the guy eventually, or the producers are gonna somehow orchestrate this, or Jamie is gonna get put in the hot seat, and Jamie is probably gonna go home next week. He was saved this week because he did have the one-on-one with the rose, and I think Michelle is so done with Jamie, but she obviously has to keep him for now. She also had to keep Peter, because Peter was the drama, and Will, even though I would have loved for her to send Peter home. But the guys Michelle decided to send home in her pink, fabulous, shiny dress was Pardeem, who was the first Indian American to ever receive a rose on The Bachelorette. Justice for Pardeem, prayers for Pardeem. Pray that Pardeem goes to paradise, because we stan and we love Pardeem. The other guys that got sent home were PJ and Daniel. Those were the two firefighter guys. Daniel was the one that showed up in a toy car fire truck on night 1, and then PJ showed him out with an entire fire truck right after Daniel. They both got sent home, which sucks, because I would have loved to see some drama between the firefighters, battle of the firefighters. Y'all know I love a round 2. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. And Alec went home as well, but I don't think we knew anything about Alec. So that was 4 guys who went home. And I thought it was a pretty decent episode. What I've gathered from social media is that not a lot of people are watching this season, probably due to the back-to-back seasons of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Paradise and everything. But I do think the show is going to catch up some more stamina towards the second half of the season. But if you're not watching The Bachelorette, that's okay. I will be doing recaps for you guys on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. So make sure you guys are following me on all my platforms. Everything is at Zachary Reality. If you are watching though, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of this episode and what you guys think of the season so far. I cannot wait to read them. I will be responding to all of them. Before you go, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. Ring the bell if you want to get notified whenever I post. And as always, I will be doing these episode recaps of Michelle's season throughout the rest of the season on YouTube. So look forward to those every single week. Hope you guys have a safe, amazing holiday weekend. And make sure to listen to my podcast, which is about to be out with James from The Circle. That is going to be premiering on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, as well as my YouTube channel. And I will catch you guys next time. See you later, guys. Bye. Peace out.